Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Last Brain Cell. We are joined by me, Reese Poo, and Roddy Doodah.
That's who you are now. How do you feel?
Roddy Doodah. That's the one. And Reese Poo. I was actually coughing up everything.
No, I was taking a sip of my water when you said that the second time.
What's it got in it? Poison? Jesus Christ.
No, I choked on it. It went in my windpipe.
It went in your windpipe. Well, I mean, yeah, that happens to me a lot.
There shouldn't be wind down there.
Moving on.
We're not sinking to that level of humour. Not on this podcast.
Are you sure? I feel like we already have.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Anyways,
welcome to our review of season 1 of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda.
Say our review. It's more of me just talking about it, and you have no idea what's going on.
I have an idea what's going on. Yeah.
Well, as Rodney said, we're going to be talking about Andromeda, specifically season 1, because Sam, has just finished it, and I gotta say, it has potential. It has potential.
Yeah.
It sure does.
It sure does.
It's great.
Basically, you've probably seen our previous Chatterboxed episode where Reese kind of talks about Andromeda. Well, it's my turn now.
I did do that. I did that.
So, my journey... I'll start off with my journey with Andromeda.
No.
When I was 13 years old, I saw the box set on my brother's shelf, and I thought, that looks crap. And I proceeded to watch Stargate and everything else instead. Until one fateful night at university, I hop on a Discord call, and I see these 3 losers, minus Brandon because he's not here, watching the show called Andromeda. And I go, I know that show, I've never seen it. So I just watch along for a little bit. My first episode that I watched was like in season 2 or whatever. And man, what a show. It's so unique. It's so unique.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
That's a weird.
That's a nice way of saying what we're thinking.
The first character that I think I was introduced to was Tyr, and I was very intrigued. And then it immediately cut to Harper, and I was like, get this guy out of here. And then you went to Rami, which she's like there. And I knew since day one I hated Dylan.
It was cemented in just.
And then I didn't remember the other characters. Fast forward. Rodney, I was talking in past tense.
Oh.
Hence the beginning the journey.
Yeah, that sounds like an episode of Andromeda. It's not the same title, but it's very similar to a certain episode. You'll get there.
I know which episode you're referring to.
Yeah.
Anyways. Then fast forward to, like, what was it? March? Was it March or April?
I think April.
We watched it from January to February. I know that because I, for some reason, dated it.
I swear you started in like October or November.
No, we started watching it on the 5th of January.
Damn. Jeez. Yeah, I started properly watching it in April. I gave the first episode a try. I absolutely despised it. I think I ranted about the first episode for a while.
A little bit.
And then it took me until it took me 2 months to even watch episode 2.
Yeah.
Which and bear in mind, the first 2 episodes is like a 2-parter. It's like a movie. And I enjoyed the second episode more. It wasn't enough for me to be fully invested, but I carried on. I carried on because I was like, you know what? I may be wrong. I could be wrong. It might be me. It might be me that's the issue here. might not be my show. And then I watched more. Then I watched more, and then I watched more. You know, it was a very much a decline.
I seem to
For
remember.
a lot of it.
I seem to remember at that point though you were saying in the chat like, "Guys, I hate you. I'm enjoying this. Why am I enjoying this?"
No, because there were episodes that were really good, and then it would tank.
Yeah.
And then somehow get better, and then tank. It was going up and down. It felt like I was watching Walking Dead all over again.
Yeah.
And today I finished it. I finished season 1, and I can say I will be continuing the show. I definitely want to find out what happens to all these characters. I know they're going to be alive because I've seen bits of what happens afterwards. I'm very much intrigued with the big bad evil Magog guy, who's less hairy than all the others and has different fur, which is something I noticed.
Yeah.
And was the only one with the ability to speak English and have actual thought and have a gun, which I found interesting. I think and I also want to know. I want to see more of the 20 planets combined together in a chain or whatever it was. That was cool. That was really interesting.
Oh, the world
The
ship.
Magog world ship.
The world ship. The
Yeah.
Magog. But yeah, I'm very much excited to see what happens in season 2. But before I go into what I think will happen in season 2, let's just start off with a character analysis.
Oh, let's
shall
go.
we?
Let's bring it.
Character analysis. Dylan Hunt, like Kevin Sorbo, is pretentious and egotistical.
Damn.
And it's just annoying. He's annoying from start to finish, and there were a lot of times where I genuinely struggled watching an episode because of Dylan Hunt. He just feels so out of place in the series. I mean, this series feels out of place itself. Yeah, I just can't stand Dylan, and there hasn't been an episode where I've liked him. There hasn't been an episode where I found him to be all right, other than the episode where he sees his wife. I think it's Banks of Leith or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Episode 8.
I know the one you're talking about.
I really liked him in that episode because he was showing more than one emotion, and was not being an asshole the entire time, even though he was an asshole in that episode. Yeah, Dylan, I'm not going to be happy with him having on-screen presence in the rest of the show, but I will stick with it because these next few characters that I'm going to talk about, I like. Let's start off with Harper. Harper, initially, I despised, as you guys know. I despised him because he was annoying.
I know.
He was a ladies' man. He was everything I hated about a character. And then around halfway through the show, when Harper 2.0 happened, the actor was actually given more to work with in the script, so he wasn't just comic relief. Harper 2.0 is a great episode. And the first episode of the show that I went, that is really good. Why isn't every episode like this? Like, there have been good episodes before that, but nothing to the level of Harper 2.0. Like, that was genuinely really nice switch up, and I really liked it. And then Fear and Loathing in the Milky Way, another brilliant episode. We're seeing more of Harper and who he is as a person.
Yeah.
And also his relationship with Trance, which I really like. Because the big issue with the show is you don't really get much crew dynamic. It's very much forced through the script, and it's very fake. Like, the actors have to pretend to be really good mates with these characters, even though we literally know nothing about them, and they haven't had an interaction on screen that's had much of an effect on them to be as close as they are.
Yeah.
Like the first episode in the Eureka Maru, you can tell all these characters, like they're decent friends. They're not best buds, but you can see through their interactions they care about each other in one way or another, and that just fades. That just it's like there's no genuine care. It's just like the script tells me so I have to care.
Yeah.
And Harper in the most recent episode 22, he just goes completely insane. He's scared. Like one of the first times you actually see proper fear in him, which it was a little overplayed, but it was really nice to see more just of him come out. And his like opinion on Magog. It's told, which is annoying, to the audience, his opinion, not by him, but it's really nice to see that reflect in this episode.
Yeah.
And he just shuts down completely.
I love Harper in that finale.
And just freaks out. And his relationship with Tyr in that episode, while kind of cheesy, I did really enjoy. I did like that. We got a little bit more to Tyr's character there as well than just smolder and stating the obvious because he's Tyr.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harper. Love Harper. I'm aware of things that happen in season 2 and 3, and I'm very excited to see him in the future. I'll watch more. Who's next? I'm trying to think of of characters that I actually really do like. I mean, Becca. There have been a lot of moments where the script really just screws her over, which is really annoying. And there's moments where she's directed to play in a very certain way that I really don't like. But yeah, I do like Becca's character. I think she's really interesting. I do like her episodes where you find out about her family. With that being said, though, I wish we learnt more about Becca than her family members, because I know more about Becca's family members than her.
Yeah, they always mention her brother.
Her brother.
Yeah, her brother, her father, and then we see her uncle and all that. And it's just, they don't really do much with that. But I do like her quite a bit, especially I liked her in Dylan's birthday episode. I think even with how shoddy of a script it was, she did do a very good job at it.
Dylan's
playing
birthday.
a drug addict.
Oh, yeah, episode 21.
Yeah, Dylan's birthday.
I like that one.
And I just really liked it because while a lot of the character interactions and relationships are kind of forced to be really friendly, we have seen more of a gradual change in Becca's relationship to Dylan. So I didn't mind her being that way in the episode because it felt somewhat normal and organic to happen. Then you have Tyr, who at first I really liked as a character. But he just gets worse and worse. Like, he doesn't change at all. Same with Dylan. Him and Dylan are like in the same field of they act the exact way each time. They don't do anything different. They don't progress at all. They don't change. And when they do change, it's very minor and doesn't, follow up.
Yeah, it's like it's forgotten the next episode.
Yeah, it's completely forgotten about. Which is a shame because he's like especially in Double Helix. It just like that episode kind of says, oh, there's more to this guy, but then they do nothing else with him.
Yeah.
until Music of a Distant Drum, where he's lost his memory about his himself, but somehow remembers everything else, which is strange. Like, I hated that episode.
You see,
like,
sorry, go on.
continue.
Oh,
no, you go.
Okay. I was gonna say that episode is sort of it's obviously a tier episode, but like the episode, it's fine, I think, but that ending where he goes, "I am Tia Anasazi," that ending.
I am Tyr Anasazi of Kodiak Pride.
I love that bit.
Blood of Victoria by Barbarossa.
I really love that bit.
I will never surrender.
I love that you memorized it better than I have.
Yeah, that is the only good moment episode.
Yeah. Rodney, how much of Andromeda have you seen?
I'm actually catching up quite a bit, but honestly, this is a general issue of remembering some stuff. I still have sometimes an issue with remembering some of the major plot bits, but I did remember the Tyr memory loss episode because I think I was there for the whole thing when you guys first watched it.
Maybe you were.
But yeah, the ending bit when Tyr said that line, that was one of the good bits of the episode. Like,
there are genuine moments in the episode that I did like, but it just, again, I knew nothing in this episode was gonna, nothing was gonna come out of it afterwards. It was just gonna be forgotten about again. Any character moments he has, just doesn't come into effect later.
Yeah.
And still, Tyr doesn't really do much in his own episode. He doesn't really have many inner or personal conflicts. He just kind of
is there.
It's not that he's there. He's just like, he doesn't change as a person. We don't it's like the show's gotten to the point with his character where we know basically nothing about him, and we still know nothing other than those few things. Like that moment at the end where he gets his memory back. While that moment is great, it doesn't hit as hard as it could, because there's no significant change in Tyr. He's not being told something he isn't. There's no major arc in that episode. And it's just really disappointing, because it's just another nothing episode with a character, and it's annoying that it's Tyr, because Tyr can be a really interesting character. It's just the writers do nothing with him. The only things that kind of are mildly important is the mention of the other Nietzschean tribes, such as Dragon. But I have a feeling those are going to only get referenced probably once or twice later on in the show, or not at all. Yeah, Tyr, I don't like him at all, which is a shame, because he starts off great.
Yeah.
Then you have Trance, which my issue with Trance is she's just same with Tyr, an enigma. We literally know nothing about her. But we know, we get moments of her personality come through, but it's just she's just there. She's just there. I mean, I will say the one thing that she has progressed in is piloting the ship.
Yeah.
Because in the finale she does get really good at it.
Yeah, we do. That
was nice to see.
Yeah, we do see her do stuff with the slipstream quite a bit.
I think she's one of the few who actually learns how to pilot the Andromeda in the slipstream. I don't think the whole crew learns it.
It is mostly just Becca, though.
Yeah.
And then you have
Rev Ben?
Nope, no, we're not talking about Red Bum yet. We'll get into him later.
Okay.
Rami.
Yeah.
Um, one thing I do like about Rami is there's 3 of her, and each of them has a different personality and way of thinking. You have the one on the command deck, you have the hologram Rami, and then you have the physical android of Rami.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just love the way you're saying Romy in an American accent.
Yeah, it sounds so American.
But I don't know the British pronunciation for
No,
it. So.
just Romy.
It is Romy, as in Andromeda. That's her name,
Oh,
Romy.
okay, Rami.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I do like that aspect of her. I think it's really interesting how you do that, and especially in the finale where her kind of backup self has also different personalities as well. It's nice that they kept that up, and it's really interesting to see.
Yeah.
And I feel like while you don't notice it, she is probably the most developed character. While she still bows down to Dylan Hunt, which I think is a shame, she has her own opinions on everyone.
Yeah.
And it's never stated. You can just tell by the way she talks to someone or reacts, or like her facial expressions.
Yeah.
Her character is the most nuanced. I wish that, again, there should be more to all of these characters, including her, but she is the most nuanced one that's actually having. She doesn't change, like nothing really happens to her that, whoa, this must change. It's her thoughts on people that change.
Yeah.
Which I found really interesting. And then you have her episode with good old Michael Shanks from Stargate SG-1.
Let's go.
My man, oh man, Daniel Jackson. He's an android in that episode, and the episode is probably my least favorite because it goes for super cheese instead of the standard cheesy, and it's what brings the episode down. It's a love at first sight episode, and I despise love at first sight. And there is the odd occasion where it is done well, and I do like it, but the majority of the time, including this time, it is absolutely abysmal. And there are many ways to get around love at first sight and make it interesting. But yeah, I just found it really annoying that her episode was about the one typical emotion with androids. How do you feel love or whatever?
Yeah.
And I feel like they didn't tackle it in an interesting way. But I guess an aspect that I did find interesting about the episode is it's a very typical case of an abusive relationship that is quite accurate. Because Michael Shank's character lies to Romy the entire time, and she keeps going back to him. That is an actual aspect of abusive relationships where you acknowledge something, but then you just make it disappear and you go back. And I found that really interesting, but I feel like Andromeda as a show is not capable of tackling subject matter in any form.
Sorry, that was a train.
Well, I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it. And yeah, the episode, unfortunately, I hated, because it's Romy's episode, and I like Romy a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Rev Bem, who slowly but surely becomes a caricature instead of an actual character. I love him in the first couple episodes. I think he's really interesting. And I was very intrigued with, is it the Wayfinders? That what they're called?
I think so.
Or something. The religion Rev Bem is in.
Yeah, I'll just quickly look it up. Just keep.
Oh no, the Wayists, I think.
The Wayists.
Yeah, he's a Wayist.
I like the sound of that. That sounded interesting. And again, like all these characters, start off really interesting, then fades away very quickly. Rev Bem becomes one of the most annoying and infuriating characters alongside Dylan Hunt for me. He is just there to explain at the end of every episode to the main character of the episode whatever. It's like it's just a weird confession room, which thankfully, from what I've heard, gets removed in season 2 onwards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a character that is there until his episode, "The Devil Take the Hindmost," which, again, like the Romy episode, great concept, abysmal execution.
No.
Like the idea, the concept of like religious warriors or whatever is so cool. Like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And then you watch the episode, and it's very just on the nose, not subtle at all, of its view on religion. There's no nuance, there is nothing, and Rev Bem in that episode switches thoughts so quickly. It just becomes like, it's just like, what is happening? What is happening?
Yeah.
Like what is this writer on? Because they go from agreeing with Dylan to disagreeing with Dylan to, and it's just like, what's going on here? Why are we doing this? And again, just they do nothing with his character. He's just there. And then I don't want to talk about the rest of that episode because I hate it and it's disgusting.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
with
that's
I agree with what you're saying about Rev Bem.
Yes, same.
There were times where I forgot he was even in the show,
Yeah.
and he serves
Yeah.
the same purpose on almost every episode, where he's the guy who gives the talk at the end of the episode.
Yeah, like the final speech.
Mm.
And it's like the first couple times I was watching an episode with him, I was like, "Is that a new character?" And they had to couple times just legit say, "No, Rodney, that's Rev Bem." Oh,
Yeah, even you didn't know.
See, the idea of him, talking to a character at the end of an episode, I don't mind. It's how constant it is. And
Yeah.
I feel like I would have preferred a very typical, like, just a confession room. I think I would have found that there are so many ways you can feed that into the plot of the episodes, and also like a potential arc for one of the characters. Maybe they become religious, maybe they go back to feeling the same way or whatever. But again, no. The episode, the writers are not competent enough to do that because they don't understand the idea of, anything.
yeah.
Yeah, Rhythm's there, and then he does stuff in the last episode. I like him in the last episode because he's not just there, but at the same time he is really weird.
I like him in the last episode. I do like that he just sort of starts sniffing him out. Yeah, I know you're here, Magog.
Ooh, one thing I forgot to mention about Dylan's character is I despise that every time he sees a ship, he goes, "Ah, yes, let's blow it up."
Fire.
Yeah.
Is he stupid? Like, the answer is yes to that. But why? Why does he do that? They're not even attacking. They haven't even hailed him. Nothing. And he's just like, blow it up. It's just, bruh.
Yeah. I find it funny how there's a thing of destroying someone's ship and then going, join the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, do you want to join? Even though we just blew up your ship.
And holding all of you captive.
You do have to bear in mind that this is now a world where, they lost. So.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with that battle with the Magog, when we find out a certain character is potentially behind it. Really cool. And we see him at the end of the finale. The weird spirit ghost man, whatever thing.
Yeah.
Have they said the name yet in the actual show?
No, they haven't.
Okay, I'll leave that to you then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't wait. I'm invested.
Yeah.
Like that's genuinely hooked me in to watching season 2. I hope this is how I felt with Legend of Ruby Sunday. I really hope the next episode lives up to the expectations of the first.
Oh god, do not go in with the Ruby Sunday mentality.
Doctor Who, we're keeping that out of this.
Yeah, keep that separate. Keep that separate,
We'll
please.
worry about that another day.
The next thing I'm going to say, I can't. And this is going to move on to the next section, the writing. A lot of the writing in Andromeda is really reflective of Chris Chibnall's era. Because it's super on the nose. A lot of the dialogue is terrible. They don't know what they're doing with a lot of the episodes. And the main character, the lead, is an ass.
Yeah.
The difference is the finale feels like a finale this time. And there's actual good episodes.
I never think I'd hear someone compare Chibnall Doctor Who to Hewitt Wolf Andromeda.
But I was like, I've been watching it and just noticed like things that just like remind me of it. I can't give a specific examples right now, but like every time I just kept thinking, why is this giving Chibnall? why is this like reminding me of this?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But that also brings me into how poorly produced this show is. Like, and finding out stuff about the first 2 episodes upon rewatching it, because I rewatched the first 2 episodes to see if I would still feel the same, and I ended up I love the first 2 episodes now. The fact that they blew a lot of their budget on the first 2 episodes says so much about this.
They blew it all on the set.
The first 2 episodes are directed really well, and the writing it's solid. It's solid writing. There's an idea, there's a vision behind everything. The shots aren't just the same. They're like different. They're doing different stuff. They're combining things. It's really cool. It's cool filmmaking to see, and should have been the standard for the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it just declines from that point on. It just becomes very typical, very boring.
Mm-hmm.
Quite samey.
Yeah. And it just brings up another thing is, why start doing a 22 episode show around the time where 22 episode shows are going out of fashion?
Yep. Well, it's early 2000, so they were still quite a lot.
They were still a thing, but like very quickly, not long after that, it just went down to 15, 13 episodes.
When did they start doing that anyway?
It was around 2003, I think. I believe it was 2003 because I'm thinking about like Battlestar Galactica and Doctor Who and like several other like sci-fis and all that coming around like was around that time. And it's like it really would have benefited the show, especially if you can't afford the entire cast in a single episode or on screen.
Oh yeah.
Like when you can't even do that, you need to start cutting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was the producer on this, I mean, I would have asked for a full rewrite, but if I was producer on Andromeda, I would have said, let's not do 22 episodes, because budget.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, let's cut the amount of episodes we have, because, I've done a list of the episodes you can cut out, and there's many more changes you can do, but if I had to keep all the episodes and then and can't change anything in them, and I could cut stuff, and I'm going to share my screen now.
Oh, here we go.
To show what I've done.
let's go in.
Yeah, let's bring it. So I was looking up some stuff you said about the 22 episode thing going out, but I just looked up a show and that had 10 seasons with 21 to 23 episodes till at least 2011 when it ended.
There are some cases where shows still kept doing that, but it's definitely because of popularity.
Yeah.
And Andromeda is not that popular of a show.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I think it's fair to say, it had a pretty huge fan base, but it's it is really a show that is free anywhere now. It's on Rakuten, Pluto, YouTube.
Yeah.
If you're in America, it's on
Amazon.
YouTube for free. Yeah, is that
Dailymotion here?
On Amazon? Is it?
It's free on Amazon.
Oh, is it on Freevee then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's not on all of the Amazon Primes. It's not on the one in the Netherlands.
Oh.
Half of season 1 isn't on Prime in the UK.
Yeah, and the one of the bad things about getting the DVD is that it's cropped to 4:3.
Yeah, you have to resort to buying the Blu-ray, which is expensive.
And for that, you need a Blu-ray player.
Which, luckily, I have now.
I actually don't have a Blu-ray player, and that kind of sucks.
You have an Xbox?
I haven't used it in about 2 years, but I do have an Xbox One.
Well, if you have an Xbox One, a PS4, or any above that, you can play Blu-rays. You can even play Blu-rays on PS3, which the Xbox 360 couldn't do, and they released it at the same time.
I used to play... I played a Doctor Who Blu-ray on my Xbox once. I'm not sure how good the Xbox is now. Because it hasn't been used in...
Well, it depends on the model as well.
But anyways, back to this.
Yeah.
So what I would do if I was cutting episodes and reordering it, I would put episode 1 and 2 as a movie. Because it makes most sense. And then I would keep, episode 3 as usual, to Loose the Fateful Lining, because that introduces new stuff for the ship, and also immediately introduces how dark this world can be. With little Nazi soldiers who are pretending to be High Guard.
Yep.
And then I would have Double Helix. I would remove D-0, or whatever it's called, because literally it's a bad episode and nothing in it really affects anything else, and it's not important at all. There's no character changes, there's nothing else happening with it, it's just a filler episode. Double Helix, very important for the plot, and very important for Tyr's character. Then I cut to Angel, Dark, Demon, Bright, and then I would immediately jump into Becca's two-parters. Even though it's not a two-parter, these are separate episodes, but I'm making them a two-parter. So I would combine the Ties That Blind and the Pearls That Were His Eye. So this is the episode with her brother and the episode with her uncle. I would combine those, be released one after the other.
Okay.
So you can learn more about her character earlier on, because you find more about Becca much later on in the show, which, if you're learning about these characters for the first time, it's much better if you learn about them earlier. And then I would jump into Fear and Loathing in the Milky Way, which
is peak.
It immediately shows you more to who Harper is as a person, and isn't just the comic relief guy. And also has a lot of development for Trance and their relationship together.
Yeah, what I really like about that episode, initially I wasn't really sold on those two characters, but that episode really did. It really did sell it to me. I like it.
And then I would keep episode 8 as episode 8. This is the Banks of Leaf is placed perfectly. I would say. You could potentially have it earlier on, but I think it's in a really good spot. And okay, I have two versions of a slate.
Okay.
I would keep All Great Neptune's Ocean. Even though I personally don't like it, it's not a good episode in my opinion. It has important stuff to do with Dylan. and kind of alliances, and shows up in a later episode in the season.
Yeah.
Then I would do another Harper episode with Harper 2.0,
Let's go.
which kind of has more to do with his connection to things, including the ship.
Yeah.
It's just an overall really good episode on Harper. And then I would do the Mathematics of Tears, which I genuinely forget what it's about. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yes, that episode. The episode with the robots. It's a good episode. It is important to Dylan because he's meeting a High Guard who aren't really High Guard, but he thinks they're High Guard. So we see a slight change in him, one of the very few times, because Kevin Sorbo is as subtle as an actor as a brick and can't act at all.
Damn. You're going in on him today, aren't you?
I don't like Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, I can tell.
He's a funny little guy.
Damn.
Then I would cut to Forced Perspective, which has references to All Great Neptune's Ocean, and cut some other episodes. And it's a nice character study on who Dylan is. But because Dylan's the main character, he can't have any flaws. So the episode kind of says, Dylan isn't bad, even though we've showed you all of these really bad, horrendous acts that he has committed. But he's not bad at all. False Perspective. And then that was definitely not wrong. Wait, is that the right? Hold on. Yep. Then episode 13, It Makes a Lonely Light. Lovely Light. Which is a Becca and Dylan episode where Becca goes cray-cray, trying to find Dylan's home world, and establishes their relationship and how much it's progressed. I've mentioned this earlier. Good episode. And then you have episode 14, which is going to be the finale. It's Our Come Round at Last, which is a brilliant episode and is my favourite episode in this entire season.
It is a very good finale.
Like, if I would I'm gonna say something. If I had to come back to watching episodes, the episodes I would come back to is obviously the first two.
Yeah.
Like, I would come back to Fear and Loathing in the Milky Way, Banks of Leaf, Harper 2.0, and especially this episode. Like these few episodes I would come back to regularly.
Yeah, is it safe to assume that you think the second half is better than the first half of the season?
I think the first half is better.
Okay.
Because it's if you see by my ratings, it's more consistent in its quality. They're just solid episodes. Like halfway through, I do rate some episodes higher, but I do rate more episodes much lower. Like, as for example, it kind of goes up and down here.
Yeah.
Especially here, it's a constant up and down for the second half. Like, the second half has the best of the best, but also the worst of the worst.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so it's very much it's a pendulum swing in a way with the second half. Any episodes that I would cut out.
Here we go.
I'll first put those there. So these episodes aren't bad. You just don't need them, really. I mean, Honey Offering maybe, because it's the same thing with Music of a Distant Drum. It's informing the audience of the other tribes for the Nietzscheans. But the thing is with the show, as I've mentioned, nothing gets mentioned again. And if it does, it'll be 3 seasons later in a random point, where you would immediately go, I don't remember this happening. But yeah, this episode is good. It's solid. It's not great. It's skippable. But I would remove it from the slate and potentially put it in a season 2 if I had to. A Rose in the Ashes is, again, it's okay, but it's just you don't need it. It's not important. It's just more filler. Like some of these episodes are definitely filler, but the thing is with a lot of these is a lot of character moments that you don't. I say a lot. There's more character moments than you do get in these.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and the ones that will be staying out. D-0, the sum of its parts, Devil Take the Hindmost, Music of a Distant Drum, and Star-Crossed,
Yeah.
the worst of the worst.
Okay.
And it's literally, well, now it's in best to worst. There we go.
Safe to assume that Star-Crossed is your least favourite of the season.
There we go.
Okay, second least favourite
Yeah.
of the season.
Yeah. I will say a few things about these episodes. I do like trance in some of its parts.
Yeah.
There's more of a side to her that you don't see in some of these episodes, which I do like. The problem is the episode is so filler to the point where it's just like I kind of forgot Trance had a single good moment in the episode.
Yeah.
And if I forget that, then it's just put it in the bin. Because we do see other sides from her in these episodes, so it kind of fills the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talked about Star-Crossed, Rami's episode. No. I don't remember a single thing in D-0. Music of a Distant Drum, blech. Devil Take Minehouse, blech. These, yeah. Yeah, if I was producer, that's how I would slate the show. 14 episodes for the first season. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thank you for hosting it.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you for hosting it, man. It was very informative.
Is there any other... I don't know if there's much else I really want to say about Andromeda. I guess like one of the things I will say is... And this is a thing that I will mention about Doctor Who, especially Chris Chibble's Doctor Who, is the show doesn't fit what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, with Doctor Who, Chris Chibnall's era, it feels like he wrote a sci-fi for a different show and then changed the scripts to fit the Doctor in.
Yeah.
And then released it. Like,
ooh, I know what you mean.
Like, series 11 to 13 should have been its own sci-fi show and not Doctor Who, and it probably would have been slightly better.
Yeah, because I know what you mean, because in some of those situations, I think, wait, if you just remove the Doctor, the situation could still be handled. Like, in half of those episodes, was she even needed? Like,
no, it's not even that. It's also like the style of sci-fi Chris is going for. It doesn't fit Doctor Who. You have the frog that has created an entire thing, an entire like parallel world, which is an idea that I like, but it doesn't work with Doctor Who. Like, that could definitely work in like a Terry Pratchett kind of thing, because it's absurd. It's absurdism. He goes through a lot of absurdism things, especially in the same episode where the Doctor mentions the war between the sheep and the humans.
yeah.
That's funny, and I'd want to see that because I can visualize that, but not in Doctor Who. It's like the right recipe, but in the wrong kind of. But like you have the best good recipe, but the wrong ingredients.
Yeah.
Or not even the right amount of ingredients. That's what Andromeda feels like. It feels like it's trying to be too many things at once, but also loses what it potentially wanted to be in the first place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Good analogy, by the way, by using the with the food thing.
Yeah, I was mentioning this to Brandon earlier. Subscribe to the What's the Sherlock channel.
Please do. Please do.
For twice weekly uploads.
Daily.
Daily.
Shut up!
I was talking to Brandon about this earlier when I was rewatching the first two episodes. If you remove Dylan Hunt from the equation...
The answer's the same.
Yeah, and the show would be better. Because then you could focus on the Maru crew. And
Yeah.
also Gerentex, or Gerentex, how you pronounce it, a really interesting character. We see more of him in Fear and Loathing in the Milky Way. Doesn't show up ever again, which is sad. But he's a really cool, interesting character that I want to find out more about. And the really cool things that are in this show, they don't go back to. They don't allow it to, come back and, revisit. Which is a shame. Because the direction for the first 2 episodes is so strong, it kind of withers away after that. Yes,
Yeah.
it would be still have Dylan Hunt and all that, but the first 2 episodes promise so much, and it just fails to live up to it. Oh, I just spilled water all over my phone. Hold on.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Are you good?
It's gone into the charging port.
Oh no!
Hold on. Okay, it still turns on. I still have... Okay, Dylan Hunt still appears on my phone. Dylan Hunt is my screensaver, just so you guys are aware.
Is he actually?
Yeah! I just had a really goofy image of him, so it's just Dylan Hunt. Right. Phone's good. Phone's good. We're good.
Everything's still on, working?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's fine on my end.
Yeah, there's just... While I do like Andromeda, and I do have my issues with it, it's... The show released at the wrong time, and definitely could have done with a few more... do with some rethinking before releasing it. Yeah, and my thoughts on just how I feel about what the rest of the show could be. Well, knowing that the showrunner leaves halfway through season 2 and then becomes such a very weird show after that, and I've seen bits of what happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's a roller coaster. I'm very much intrigued.
Yeah.
Just think...
As long as... What I hope for is, as long as the finale gets resolved, well, I'm fine. I have a feeling it's going to promise a lot of things and then fail at all of it, but as long as what we currently have gets wrapped up, I'm fine. That's fine for me. Will I continue after that point? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm very much intrigued with what I've heard about the rest of the show, to where I do kind of want to watch it. But yeah, I'll give season 1 of Andromeda a 6.5 out of 10. Has potential, won't live up to it, but yeah. I liked it.
What you said, you've heard and seen some bits of the later seasons. Just think Kevin Sorbo, and yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Here's what I think. Based off of some of your criticisms of season 1, there are things I think in future seasons you'll like.
Okay.
Or rather, you'll appreciate a lot more. Cool. There are things you'll like, and there are things you probably really won't like, but I don't think you'll grow to dislike those later seasons.
One thing I did kind of forget to mention is with the episode length. I understand that in a lot of shows where you do have that length of episodes, characters don't change that much. I'm used to shows where characters, changing. We're seeing different things with them happen and all that.
I mean, fair enough.
In these long-running shows, that doesn't really happen as much. I feel like Andromeda is a whole other thing of there is so little of any of that. It's just come on, we need something to happen to these characters and it have a lasting effect.
Yeah.
Even shows with that length, like Star Trek, for example. I've watched several episodes of The Next Generation when nothing happens to the characters, or when stuff does happen, nothing gets brought up again. But there are moments where it does. Things do get mentioned. They have a lasting effect. Especially with Picard. Picard is a great example. Yes, it came out in the 21st century. It's remembering everything that did happen. But yeah, that closes my TED Talk. Thank you for coming.
Again.
Thank you for hosting again. Well, that was great.
Uh-huh.
So, you're hoping to see Gerontex again?
That was my hope, but I know he's not going to appear because I've checked his episode count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then. We really did just save the Commonwealth of that disgust. I'll stop talking.
Yes.
I mean, Bruce, you've seen all of it. I forget what we talked about.
I've seen the whole thing. There are bits
Yeah.
I don't remember because there are some genuinely forgettable things in there. But, you know, I remember quite a bit. There's a moth in my room.
Yeah.
I don't fully remember what you said in the chat box video because it's been a while. But how would you rank the seasons in a way?
I think the best, would, in my opinion, is season 2. Right below that, season 1, and below that, season 4. Below that, season 5, and at the very bottom, season 3. Because season 3 is probably the most different in terms of format. I don't know format, but you'll see.
Okay. From what I've said about the first season, how do you think I would rank them?
I think you'll prefer season 2. I don't know about the rest. There are things in season 5 I think you will like. And in season 4 particularly.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Will I still hate Dylan?
Oh, you will.
Oh no.
No, but here's the thing. I don't want to say you will, because you may grow to like him a lot more. I don't know.
That is also a possibility.
It just depends on what you want to see his character become and be like, and how much you want him involved.
They haven't really changed, so I don't really. I don't know if my feelings towards the character would really matter.
It's such a shame that a lot of stuff you now want to happen probably won't. I mean, I know what happens, but happens after all of everything happens after season 1.
Yeah, like I know like a lot of the things that I do hope for the show to happen. I have a feeling it won't. You know, I may be surprised, maybe wrong. I may end up enjoying the format of the show, you know, onwards, you know, and like go into it expecting these characters aren't really going to change, so I'm just going to be here for the ride at this point.
Yeah, I mean, season 4 and 5 has really good stuff with Trance in particular. I will say that much.
Okay. I've heard interesting things about Tyr, and a certain reason why that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean? Yeah.
Anyway,
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Rodney, you're rewatching the show, aren't you?
Yeah. Just because I've forgotten some stuff, but I've also been looking up some extra stuff because I just have trouble remembering certain things at the moment. Like there's stuff I can instantly click back together after a while, but sometimes it just if it's recently I can't really. But during this talk, I'm actually remembering quite some bits, and just from what I've watched of the overall series.
Yeah, because I'm aware you only watched like half of it.
Yeah, half of. I think I watched most of season 1. Bits of season 2. Like it's very 50-50. I think I've watched more than I probably think I have.
Yeah, I feel like the best way I can describe the show is if it's on I'll watch. If it's on TV, I'll watch it.
If it's on T.
It's cheesy fluff that you will probably enjoy if you don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. But that's just the way it is, I think.
Yeah.
No, it could.
It's a shame because this show genuinely could have been something more, and it's definitely the issue with the creators failing to realize that. because
Sorry.
even if you kept 22 episodes, they could have explored so much more.
Yeah. But the downside with 22 episodes in general is there will be duds.
Yeah, I know.
There will-
I know. Yeah, there's gonna be
Yeah.
filler, but like,
Yeah, that's
just like I don't mind filler, but there's so much filler. There's so
Yeah.
much filler.
Mhm.
It's crazy how much filler there is. In
Yeah. There's also sometimes just exposition dump after exposition dump in some areas where I'm like,
Oh, it's
okay.
because the writers aren't competent enough to write nuance.
Yeah, it's like,
they go
okay.
the tell don't show method.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
I can't really say much because half the stuff I've written is tell don't show, but I'm learning to not do that.
yeah, no, that's the thing. You learn and implement that stuff.
And I'm also
They are
younger than
exactly
when they wrote it. So
they were already writers for stuff and they didn't know. So I'm like, honestly,
that's another thing. There are many plot holes in this show, and there's many things where writers wrote a certain episode and then they wrote another episode, and it's like one's really good, one's super bad. And like in the first I think it's the first episode, yeah. The black hole turns into a white hole.
yeah, that's
But when they go to the black to where it was in episode 8, for some reason it's a black hole again.
yeah.
Is just like, and I saw a staff writer who was on the first episode was the main writer of the Banks of Leaf. So I'm just like, wouldn't they notice that? Like I was talking to Brandon about this earlier, and I was just like, we both think the same thing. Just like, why? Like you would have noticed that it's a white hole, and then it's randomly a black hole again. Like white holes are just a theory. Like they're just a theory.
Yeah.
Like they've not actually seen one happen. But it's just like what they do know is from what I've read is white holes can't change back to black holes.
Yeah.
I'm
looking up stuff where Robert Hewitt Wolf did. He's actually gone on to do a lot of shows that you might have heard about.
Oh,
yeah,
he's done
I've
a lot.
looked into it. He's
Yeah,
done
like-
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like but the one that pops in mind, which kept popping up on TV for me, was Elementary.
Yeah, he's worked on that a lot.
Yeah, he's great as a writer. I'm trying to find out how many episodes.
But yeah, that concludes again. Just Andromeda is a show. I'm intrigued to watch the rest of it. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Cool bins. And
Exactly.
on that note,
That's the end, guys.
you said that so depressingly. It's the end.
Okay,
done.
shut up.
Darn, it's the end.
I was going to try and think of a funny Andromeda-like exit sentence.
No, we just use the Firefly reference.
It's never easy.
Darn. Shut up.
It's never
Anyways,
easy.
And
Thank
remember,
you for-
yeah,
Bruh. It's not this difficult. One person goes and says it. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video. It'll be cool if you stuck till the end with us and hear me yap throughout all of it. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, folks. There's more where that came from. Click on the video on the screen now if you want to watch another one, or subscribe to one of our channels. Please. Do it, please. Subscribe to us. We want you to.